Most managers hate the moment their team goes behind. The plan feels broken. The crowd gets anxious. The bench starts reacting instead of thinking. But the best comeback teams do something different. They slow the game down in their minds before they speed it up on the pitch. And deep into the 2025-26 Premier League season, the numbers tell us exactly which teams have been best at turning losing positions into points. By club totals are Chelsea with 13, Brighton with 14, Manchester United with 15, Sunderland with 16, Bournemouth with 16, and Aston Villa at the top. And that already tells us something important. Comebacks are not random. They usually reveal a pattern, a tactical habit, a mental edge, or a manager who knows exactly what a game needs when everything starts going wrong. Let's start with Chelsea. Chelsea is 6th on this list with 13 points, one from losing positions. But Chelsea are also the perfect reminder that comeback ability does not always mean control. This season has been split across more than one coach, and under Liam Rosenior the picture has been mixed. There was a brilliant example. Against West Ham, Chelsea were 2 goals down at half-time, looked tactically confused, and seemed to be losing the game on one flank. Then Rosenior changed the shape, simplified the roles, widened the fullbacks, and Chelsea came back to win 3-2 with a stoppage-time goal from Enzo Fernandez. It was dramatic, it was clever, and it showed that sometimes the best tactical decision is not to invent more, it is to remove complications. That said, Chelsea's recent run has been poor, so this is still a team with comeback moments rather than a fully reliable comeback identity. Brighton have taken 14 points from losing positions, and that feels very Fabian Hürzeler. This is a side built to make games open, less obsessed with sterile possession, more willing to be direct, more willing to attack space, and more willing to commit bodies. That is why Brighton can look especially dangerous when a match becomes stretched. One of the clearest examples came against Manchester City early in the season. City led. Brighton changed the rhythm with their substitutes. James Milner leveled from the spot, and Brajan Gruda won it in the 89th minute. That is the Brighton version of a comeback, not slow suffocation. A sudden acceleration, a game that feels normal for one team, and then suddenly becomes uncomfortable, loose, and impossible to control. For Hürzeler, a losing position can actually create the kind of spaces for Manchester United. United have 15 points, one from losing positions. But again, this is a season split between managers. Ruben Amorim carried a large part of the year, and Michael Carrick has only been in charge since January. Still, Carrick's short spell has already changed the emotional temperature of the team. The 3-2 win away at Arsenal. United went behind at the Emirates, sit back, took the lead, were pegged back again, and then won it late through Matheus Cunha. That was not just a comeback. That was a test of nerve away to the league. Leaders tactically, Carrick has leaned into a 3-4-2-1 in possession with Dalot sliding into a back three, Bruno Fernandes and Cunha working as inside forwards, and Ahmad behaving almost like a wing-back. The bigger change, Premier League analysis has described United under Carrick as reinvigorated mentally, physically and tactically. So with United, the comeback story is not only about shape, it is about belief returning to a squad that had started to look heavy. Now this is where the story becomes fascinating. Sunderland are promoted, and yet they are already on 16 points, one from losing positions. That alone tells you they are not just surviving. They are competing with a very clear identity. Has built a side around energy, togetherness and game plan, and the Premier League's own analysis has highlighted Sunderland's shape and structure as strengths. Comeback examples are everywhere. They came from behind to beat Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. They came from behind to beat Brentford with a stoppage-time winner. And just this weekend, they came from behind in the Tyne-Wear Derby to beat Newcastle 2-1 at St James's Park. That is emotional, not durability. Sunderland do not need matches to look beautiful. They need them to stay alive long enough for their organization, intensity and belief to matter. For a promoted side that is arguably the most impressive comeback identity at number 2, whole list, Bournemouth are level with Sunderland on 16 points. But stylistically they are completely different. Andoni Iraola's teams do not wait for managers to open up by accident. Team goes behind. The plan feels broken. The crowd gets anxious. The bench starts reacting instead of force it open. Premier League analysis has shown Bournemouth ranking among the best sides for direct attacks, sequences, recoveries and high turnovers, while describing them as aggressive, ferocious and relentless. That is why Bournemouth are such dangerous comeback artists. When they go behind, they do not usually retreat into caution. They double down on discomfort. They attack the opponents. Build up. They turn tired legs into rush passes. They make a game feel faster. than it was 5 minutes comeback earlier. At Everton was a perfect example. One goal changed the mood. A second arrived almost immediately, and the whole match flipped in a matter of minutes. That is Irola's genius in this category. His team do not treat a losing position like a disaster, and treat number one like a trigger. Aston Villa. By the raw numbers, Unai Emery is the standout name here. Villa have won 19 points from losing positions, more than anyone else in the Premier League this season, and that makes perfect sense, because Emery is one of the best game state coaches in football. His teams are rarely emotional in a messy way. They are emotional in a controlled way. Look at the examples. There is a huge difference. Villa came from behind to beat West Ham 3-2 after conceding inside 29 seconds. They also came from behind to beat Chelsea, with Ollie Watkins coming off the bench to score twice. That immediately tells you two things. First, Emery uses the bench well. Second, Villa stay in matches long. But the tactical detail makes it even more interesting. Premier League analysis has also pointed out that Villa can struggle badly against low blocks. Emery's football often relies on drawing the opposition press, opening gaps, then playing through those gaps with line-breaking passes and refuse to engage. Villa can look short of ideas. So in a strange way, Villa's comeback strength reveals exactly what kind of team they are. They are not the best side in the league at patiently breaking down passive opponents. They are the best side in this category because when the game becomes emotional, stretched, and slightly chaotic, Emery usually knows how to guide it better than the other manager. His substitutions, his ability to change the tempo of a match, all of it becomes more influential once the script breaks. That is why Villa sit top of this table, and that is why, by the numbers, Emery is the best comeback manager. Most managers hate the moment their team goes behind. The plan feels broken. The crowd gets anxious. The bench starts reacting instead of thinking. So who is the real master of the comeback in the Premier League right now? If you go by the table alone, it is Unai Emery. 19 points from losing positions is the best return in the league. If you go by style, though there are different answers, Iraola might be the most aggressive, Labris might be the Carrick most inspiring, sample might be the most interesting, Herzler might be the most explosive, and Chelsea might be the strangest case of all, because their comeback moments have often felt smarter than their. But maybe that is the real lesson. A comeback is never just about character. It is about what a team looks like after the original plan fails. Do they still know who they are? Do they still know where the spaces will appear? Do they still trust the manager, and do they still believe the game can turn? And the best comeback managers make that belief look organized. So next time a team goes one goal down, do not switch off. For some managers, that is the beginning of panic. For these 6, it is often the beginning of the real game.